Hi guys, and welcome back to another muscle up video. If you're struggling with the muscle up, you can always download my free muscle up technique checklist where I summarized all my best muscle up tips in a list for you that you can use before every muscle up workout to remind yourself of the technique, and that itself will make you learn the muscle up much faster and safer. And you can download it by clicking on the link in the description below. And Badger Wolf 19 says, bingo, the row is throwing the chest over. Alright, so let's take a look what Badger Wolf meant by the row is throwing the chest over the bar. So you're using your resistance bands and you're doing the explosive pull-up to here, and from here you're rowing the bar to your chest. So you're basically rowing over the transition, and I would also add throwing the chest over the bar as well. So if you do those two things together, the transition will become so easy for you. So let's take a look at the other rep. Pulling up, and from here just throwing the chest over the bar as you're rowing the chest over the bar like a straight bar row. So let's take a look from another angle as well. Pulling up to here, and from here you're just rowing yourself over the bar, and at the same time you're also throwing the chest forward, and that will make the transition like nothing. And Jake says, I'm going to add some straight bar rows into my routine. Thanks for the tip. Thanks for your comment, Jake. And yeah, I really think that's a smart move to incorporate straight bar rows if you're implementing the technique tips of rowing yourself over the bar, which I highly recommend. So if I don't have access to weights, I'm doing this kind of a row variation. So the goal is to make this very easy for you. So let's back up a little bit. You want to touch the bar under your chest each time, and you want to be as explosive as you can. And yeah, once these become easy for you, the rowing your chest over the bar cue will be, easy peasy. So if you have access to weights, I recommend just doing this, classic straight bar row for, 5 to 10 repetitions. And this will really help your muscle up transition. And Roma Gluskin 5133 says, does the glove fabric make the grip less effective? Have you tried CrossFit grips? So as you may well know by now, I'm always using my gloves for the muscle ups. I have actually never tried the CrossFit grips, but I would like to do that someday. But for the past years, I've always used my own muscle up gloves. They are thin cotton gloves, and you can get them in the description below as well. But it doesn't really make the grip less effective. In the way I teach the muscle up, I don't want my hands sticking on the bar. I want to be able to rotate my hands freely around the bar to make the transition more smooth and easy on the joint. And the gloves really help with that. So that's why I'm also selling them, because I want you to have the benefit of the gloves as well. So Psycho Mexican Oldies writes, I appreciate you taking the time to make a video of all the questions we ask. I realized that I have a false grip, that's why I have calluses. But I also realized that with that grip, I have a little more strength with weights. Even so, I appreciate you, bro. I will try to follow your advice. Yeah, I talked a lot about the grip in my last video. If you are interested in that, you can just watch my video called 7 game-changing muscle-up tips. And in that video, I go through a lot of the different grips for the muscle-up, how you can grip the bar to save your hands a little bit from ripping and hurting and all of that. So check that out if you're interested. And thank you for your comment, and I'm glad you appreciate the videos. So Ketnus writes, can I learn a muscle up without resistance bands if I can do like 10 full controlled pull-ups? And I would say the short answer is probably not, because doing normal pull-ups, even if you can do 10 or 15, you're only using your slow twitch muscle fibers. Usually you're doing your pull-ups kind of slow and controlled, and you're also using the pull-up technique, which is a little bit wider grip, and you're pulling the elbows to the side and back. For the muscle up, we want to activate the fast twitch muscle fibers, and that can be a long process to get the explosiveness needed for the muscle up. So you need to be working on your explosive pull-ups, weighted pull-ups, to be able to get the explosiveness needed for the muscle up. And you also want to use the muscle up technique. So let's do a quick recap of the technique. So you want a small swing forward like this, and as you start to swing back, you're pulling up with your elbows facing forward, as you can see here. And this is a huge difference between the normal pull-up, where you're pulling your elbows to the side and back. Here you're really emphasizing having your elbows facing forward. So pulling up with your elbows facing forward, and from here you're rowing your chest over the bar and throwing the chest over the bar at the same time, which will land you in a half muscle up, which is the hardest part of the muscle up, and then it's just to push up into the straight bar dip. And you also want to have a grip of shoulder width apart or a little bit wider. And as I'm teaching the muscle up technique, I'm just hanging from my fingers. I don't use any overhand grip. So just hanging from the fingers and using my gloves to have a smooth transition as I'm rowing myself over the bar. Hope this helps. And Mike KN7033 says, beautifully and smoothly executed. Thanks a lot, brother. Appreciate that. And Badger Wolf 19 again. I did my first muscle up with the green and purple band. Now I'm figuring how to get down to the purple and black. First of all, congratulations on your progress, Badger. And I just want to offer some progression tips for everyone. So as we all know, we start with our banded muscle ups. You can do half muscle ups or the full muscle up. It doesn't really matter. And we work ourselves down band by band. And this can be a long and frustrating journey, but that's just how it is. So as you could see here, you could work yourself down from the purple band, or as we all start with, double bands, so a green and a purple band or a green and a black band. But sometimes 5 reps with a band combination or a single band is enough. So as I said, we work ourselves down band by band to the black band, and eventually you reach the red band. And when you can do 5 reps with the red band, you have 1 or 2 bodyweight muscle ups. I see that all the time in my clients, and that's what I saw in myself as well. So one of your main goals should be to be able to do 5 reps with the red band, but we also don't want to forget to do our weighted pull-ups, 3 to 5 repetitions for 3 sets a couple of days per week. And I don't care if you're doing the lat pull down machine or regular weighted pull-ups, both are good in my book. And then eventually you will be able to do your first bodyweight muscle up. But as I said, it's a frustrating journey. That's why I always recommend, hiring a coach for a few weeks to look at your muscle up technique. And that will definitely get you your first bodyweight muscle up much faster and with a lot less frustration. So you can just email me if you're interested. My email is in the description below. And I'm looking forward to hearing from you. And Psycho Mexican Oldies writes again. I love the name, by the way. Each of your videos is pure gold, bro. You help a lot. If you could put the muscle up in slow motion, I would really appreciate it. So I'm happy you appreciate the videos. I will show you a clip from my weighted muscle up session I did a few days ago. So I love these weights. They're from, I don't know what the brand is called, Street Gains. Easy to load, very comfortable and everything. So let's show a clip from my weighted muscle up session in slow motion. So as always, small swing forward, and I'm completely relaxing my core, my legs. They are just following the upper body. So as I start to swing back, I pull with my elbows facing forward, and when I'm about here, I pull the bar towards me as hard as I can and throwing the chest forward. That will take care of the transition. And as you can see, I have the bar, pressed into my waist. So the transition is really easy. Let's see it again. And when you come down for your second muscle up, you want it to look more or less like the first one, controlling the descent. And again, just relaxing the core, relaxing the legs. You don't want to pull too early. You don't want to pull too late. And then the same thing again. Pulling with your elbows facing forward and then pulling the bar towards you. And that is the muscle up, guys. Very simple technique and very efficient. And thanks again for your support and thanks again for your supportive comments. And if you benefited from my videos, maybe you got your first bodyweight muscle up or you improved your technique a little bit and you want to support me in a small way, you can always buy me a coffee. I'll leave a link to my Buy Me a Coffee page in the description below. And thank you so much for all your support.